Hey, how's it going? You know who I am. You're following me. So I'm talking about how to learn copywriting. And I really believe that copywriting is sales in print or on, social or in digital format. And so it's worth really learning it. And the other thing is that if you know sales, in a way, you might already know copywriting. You might know a lot of principles about copywriting. The only difference is sometimes you may want to be a little bit more succinct, quicker and to the point. I have a number of resources here that I'm going to share with you this morning, though. And I think that if you run an organization, I see Ty Cobb backer on here. Appreciate you joining, bro. Even if it's just for a second, I know you're a busy dude. Send this to your marketing people. Copywriting. All right, so the first one, we're going to get into it. It's so good, and it's actually linked on here. I think there should be a button or a link somewhere. Tell me if you see where it is, up, down, etc. To go to this. It's copywriting examples, and I'm going to kind of flip the screen here for a second, and we're going to walk through it. So it's a bunch of copywriting examples all in a row and in context, and it tells you what the principles are. So this is real quick. This is a great ad by Lego. What it is beautiful, and it's giving you the principle. People are buying outcomes. Lego is cool, a proud daughter is cooler. So show the outcome of the product and talk about the outcome. A couple more here. It's so much. What I like it is I like show and tell. I like learning from actual specific examples. And so get the condensed wisdom of 4,500 nonfiction books in 15 minutes for the price of 3 lattes a month. Reframe it until it's a no-brainer. So it gives you the very specific principles. I think there's like 3 examples here that I want to talk about specifically. Let's see where they are here. All right, 97% of this cleaner is made from food waste. So the principle is most intriguing fact first. I like that one. Essentially, in copywriting, they talk about you don't want to bury the lead. And lead is spelled differently, L-E-D-E. And I do think that this usually requires revising your copywriting, right? Like for instance, I write a lot that I don't post. And I think there's a lot of really great things about writing for yourself. It clarifies your thinking. It helps you look at what's most interesting about your thinking. And what I do often is I'll write out a whole post, for instance, on social, and then I'll look for the most interesting piece of what I just said after writing out a whole chunk, and I'll take that and I'll put it up at the very top. And I'll try to take the lead, the most interesting piece, and put it up at the very top. That is a good copywriting principle. So that example, 97% of this cleaner is made from food waste, is most intriguing fact first. Let's take a look at a few more here. Oh man, there's some funny ones. Some of these are like better on the image side of things. There are less expensive bourbons. There are also thinner steaks and smaller cars. So what is the principle here if you guys had to guess? There are less expensive bourbons. There are also thinner steaks and smaller cars. So if we look at that, number one, you're starting with the objection. Good copywriting is good thinking. You start with the objection. They are less expensive. Number two, effortlessly dismantled. So you almost lean into it. You take that to its fullest extent. How could you do that? How could you say there are less expensive roofers, especially if you like to talk to them again next year? Right? So lean into the objection. Take it to its logical conclusion. If you want the cheapest thing, you might get to talk to them again next year, right? All right. And make it funny. I think that that's also like what we're trying to do. And good copywriting, a lot of this is really funny. What is this? Imagine a place where you can belong to a school club, gaming group, or a worldwide art community where you and a handful of friends can spend time together. A place that makes it easy to talk every day and hang out more often. I think this is for Discord. Copy that propels you along, like jumping gently from one trampoline to another, never slamming into hard ground. So there you go. They're essentially, and also another thing in this case, I think what they're doing is they're really outlining the ideal future. And I think that that's something that we think about a lot when we're designing and writing copy for websites is you're focused on the ideal customer, you're not focused on yourself, and then you're outlining what the ideal future looks like for them. That is a big deal. Like, really make it clear. And they're saying make it kind of gently bounce from one point to the next. Don't slam it down their throats. So I think this is at marketingexamples.com/inspiration. This is one way to learn copywriting. And I think learning from experts in this way and looking for the patterns is part of it. So I come back to this, not often, but every once in a while, and really look at these copywriting examples to try to absorb the principles. I don't think you're gonna do it in one go, but I think this is a good bookmark. And I think that they add to this regularly, and I think copywriting is worth learning. But I hope that I've got some of you in that mindset now. All right, the second way to learn copywriting, I'm gonna give you a template at the end of this too for folks that are wondering why to listen to the end. So really, copywriting is sales. So if you're good at sales, you're probably already good at copywriting. Some of you aren't good at sales, maybe. So learn sales, and then you'll get better at copywriting. And 3 books that I would say, if you can't like afford consultants and coaches and all that yet, Challenger Sale is one really good book. The Challenger Sale. Quick synopsis is there's a lot of different types of salespeople. The challenger archetype of salesperson does very well, is usually the best salesperson. And it's partly because they challenge the audience to think different. And the prospect, if you can change the prospect's mind on one important thing, like let's say price, you can change their mind that going the cheapest route is really not going to be in their best benefit long-term and is actually going to be more expensive. If you can challenge them rather than just go along with what they say, yes, 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 often you'll sell more, right? And how to do that, that's the Challenger Sale. The second book is that I like a lot is called Pitch Anything. By the way, hi Sam, if you're still on here, I saw that he joined, Sam Kohler. Appreciate you, Sam. What's up? Guys, comment below if you're in here. I think that's Jesse, I think I saw. And Pitch Anything is actually about getting funding. So it's it's not even sales really in certain ways. It's about like getting funding from investors. But it's so good, and it talks about lizard brain and how to avoid essentially the problems with our lizard brain, like the subconscious thinking, and how to rather work with that than against it. And it's one of the first books I read on sales, and it's so good. Pitch Anything. And then the last one is called Get to Know. And I like that one because, I've been scared of hearing no, and thus don't ask for the sale sometimes as much as I should. and when I learned to ask for the sale, and not once I started to ask for the sale more, I got better at sales, and ultimately I believe you will too. So that book I think is called Get to Know. And so we've got, that is the second way to learn copywriting, is to learn sales and to get good at it, and then just to apply those principles into your writing. And then the third way that I've got for you this morning to learn copywriting is a new framework from Donald Miller called the Customer is the Hero framework. And I'm going to show you how we're using this in social posts even, and then in follow-up and in even sales verbal frameworks. And then I will share a quick doc version of this that you can use to break down some of your follow-ups and your sales stuff. So here we go. This is the way we're using it. So essentially we've got the problem. We're going to highlight in red. We're copying and pasting different examples in here of sales stuff, right? And then we're highlighting aspects of it. The problem is in red. We're highlighting in red. When we're talking about ourselves, we're highlighting in purple. The simple plan for solving their problem, we're highlighting in brown. And the consequences that we're saving them from, we're highlighting yellow. And the ideal life that we could help them move towards, we're highlighting in blue. And call to action, we're highlighting in green. And we did that for a bunch of examples of existing stuff, right? We were highlighting and kind of breaking it down and then improving based on, what's up, Diego? Good to see you, bro. Based on kind of a light rhythm and how we kind of want it to be ideally. And I'm not going to go through all of this exactly right now, but suffice it to say is this is a pretty good, like, you actually want to start with the problem as much as possible. You want to talk about yourselves very lightly. The plan, you can briefly touch on it, but it should be like 3 steps, not 10 steps. Consequences, you save them from. That's probably, like, there needs to be stakes to a story, right? And then the ideal life and the call to action, those are things that you can pepper in more vigorously. And what I've got is, and I'm going to pop this in the comments, is just a blank version of this for you guys so you can work on this. But to get into this more, I'll talk about the way I might suggest using it. But I'm going to pop this into the comments here, and we can talk a little bit more here before we're done. But this is, to me, this is a really easy way to kind of, like, I think some of these things you guys probably do naturally in your sales process. You probably don't talk about yourselves that much. You probably talk about the consequence of hiring a bad roofer. You know, there's a lot of this stuff that you're naturally doing, but you probably aren't doing this all the time in your writing. So this will allow you to break down your writing and your follow-up. And the book is Growing Your Small Business by Donald Miller. So if you want to dive deeper into those concepts, I don't think I'm going to like completely shed light on this totally. I think it's probably interesting to a lot of you just to like kind of highlight sales materials, whether it's a brochure or whether it's email follow-ups or whether it's a video script or whether it's, you know, your kind of general outline for conversations with clients. But I think this gave me some meat and some potatoes to actually dive into our sales stuff and just kind of improve it a little bit. And the main gist really is just how do we talk more about the customer in our sales process and less about ourselves, and more about what the problem that we're solving. And I think that if you move in that direction in your copywriting, and in your sales follow-ups, you'll probably improve. But overall, the main idea here this morning is learning copywriting is incredibly valuable. This copywriting examples link that's linked somewhere on the video is a really good way to dive in and just start learning copywriting. This Customer is the Hero framework from Donald Miller, and that link that I just put in the comments, that one is a really good way to break down your current materials, sales materials. He says if there's one color that you'd want to be on there, if there's one color whatsoever, it would be red, because there's no story without a problem. And one thing that I really liked from his, because he wants there to be a story. He wants you to invite them into a story. And if you said the problem that your company solves right away, there's interest. Because brains are attracted to story. Brains cannot not see problem. They have to see problem. So if he said if there's one color, it should be red. I think you guys would get a lot out of reading that book. And I think it's called Growing Your Small Business. Let me look it up real quick. Growing Your Small Business. I probably suggest so many books though. So I know it's hard to read them all. So I try to give a little bit of synopsis. How to Grow Your Small Business by Donald Miller. Talks about this Customer is the Hero framework. I really liked that idea though, that he was talking about with, if there's one color you should be talking about, it's red. And I hope that some of these templates are useful to you. I hope that I've made the clear case for learning copywriting, and that it is basically just sales in print or on social. And I hope that you guys are going to have a great week. Does anyone want to talk on here before I'm out? I think there's a few people on here, and I appreciate everyone watching later. Rocky, good to see you, brother. Hope a couple of these templates might be useful. Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. I don't know if that's good or bad for you this week, but appreciate everyone joining. And see you next Wednesday for another What Else Wednesday. What else you should be doing besides SEO, PPC, and beautiful website design. Always appreciate being on here. Rocky came in halftime. I'll rewatch. Thanks. I hope this one's valuable. I'm trying to do a little bit more. I was just talking to Dimitri the other day about lives, and he's like, more preparation. Like, you can tell when somebody's not prepared for their live, and so I'm trying to outline like either resources or real valuable nuggets before I get on here. Jake Hoffer says, text or video, which is better for SEO? So text is a little bit for Google. So you definitely want text. So if you're shooting videos, have somebody turn those into a blog post, whether that's an SEO agency, and we certainly can do that in your case, Jake, because you are a client. Or you could also, if you wanted to make sure alarms this time, guys. If I go out and turn it off now, it's gonna, it would make a blank in the video. But if you have somebody just doing that part, like if you outsource that to a separate entity, then you could make sure that our efforts are only going towards kind of SEO focused content. But honestly, like if you've chosen a good topic that people are searching, I think like that's very worth it to have your SEO company not just transcribe. I don't think a transcription of the video is the best SEO play, but like turn it into a real blog post. So make it readable as a blog post, not a transcription. I think that's the best situation. And then if you don't do that, at least a transcription. And that is better. That is good for SEO. Jesse says, thanks, good info. Appreciate it, brother. But yeah, video is good, especially at the top of your blog posts, because yes, it does increase time on site. And time on site, once Google is like, let's say it's at the 9th spot on the search engine, like it needs to get up there somehow. That's where the text comes in, because Google eats text. Then it gets up to 9th spot. Then having a video at the top increases time on site. And from everything we understand, time on site helps you go further up. So people spending more time on this makes it look more valuable in the algorithm, makes it, you'd imagine these user signals would help Google identify which is the best content. And so video helps improve your user signals, helps improve your time on site, helps you make a better user experience, and all that really does matter. Video by itself, though, could get indexed. If it was just a video and like a title, it could get that particular page or blog post. Essentially, it could be bad because it's thin content. So you do not want to have thin content on your website. And thin content means lack of text. Rocky says, next video for you. What type of content should you make for our target audience? Shorts and long form. Can you clarify a little bit more what you mean by that? What type of content should one make for our, can you give a little bit more context? I think I know what you mean there, but I just want to clarify. And I might try to answer briefly if you clarify, and then I'll think about doing that on a upcoming video. Yeah, if I had to choose, I'll start answering, and then your further clarification will help me. If I had to choose between shorts and long form, right away I would start with shorts. Partly because I would be thinking about where is it going. I think about who is it for? Let's say homeowners in my area that may or may not need a roof replacement soon. And then where is it going? How do I get to those people? So my first answer probably is going to be my personal Facebook. And I would start connecting with more homeowners in my area through groups and through, like, I know they're in this area because they're part of these local groups. I would start connecting. And I know that's weird for some people, but like, we need a connecting mechanism. And they're not just going to be like, ooh, let me follow this company page. So like when I say use your personal profile, I'm saying I'm also connecting with like 10 people a day. I'm friend requesting people in my, if I was a roofer in North Oaks, Minnesota, which is where we are, where I am right now, I would be connecting with more homeowners in this area, even though it's a little weird and intimate, and I'm like maybe having customers look at my personal profile. If they know I do roofing and then I put a reel on there that has some value, like I have done this woodpecker saga, woodpeckers at my siding, and I'm like, this is how I'm fixing it, short-term fix, this is how I'd fix it. Long-term fix as a professional, then these pieces of content are hitting that person. And it's not always, they're not always liking everything and commenting. I just want to remind you guys, when you see those 100 views on your video, those are real. There's like 3 likes and there's 100 views, right? It hurts. But those 100 views happened. And if you were quick and to the point, hey, Jesse Laredo, you're friendly local roofer, and then you go into the video, like, you can really, over time, build familiarity with that person, even though they didn't like and comment. So in marketing world, we call that dark social, because they're not interacting, but they're watching. It's real. It's definitely real. And then, sorry, I would go with short form videos, and then I would kind of move into long term. That's what I would do. I guess I'm asking, what is our consumer really looking for these days online before looking at booking a quote? Question of the year, Rocky. I can only guess. I mean, customers come from all angles. Let me just like bring you through a meditation here this morning. Customers are coming from everywhere. They want to get to they want your services. They're coming from Google. They're coming from Google Business Profile. They're coming from Facebook and Shorts. They're coming from watching lives. They're coming from They could come from YouTube. I think that the reason why I say the shorts versus the long form video at this point, because I think long form video stuff is ultimately that's a longer play, much longer play. So you're gonna have to build that up over time, and it's not instant. So it's a little bit more like SEO. It takes time to really get the audience there. You can have videos kind of go off on YouTube, but it's still a search-based platform. Basically, the way customers are looking online, certainly search is a big one, and social. And I do think Facebook groups and Facebook, just in general, is a good one. So they're looking in all ways. And, hey, I guess I've got a real homeowner right here, my wife. She makes these decisions, by the way. But Bia, what's your main thing that you want to tell everybody right now, by the way, about the one-leg appointments or the don't ask for my husband thing?
Oh, yeah, on the phone when you're setting the appointment. Don't ask me if my husband's going to be home, because a couple things. My husband barely knows where his wallet is, so he doesn't make any decisions. And also, it's kind of scary. Like, should I have him be home? Because is this going to be a weird dynamic? Is that what you're asking me? Because I don't know, because I've only met you through a phone call. So it feels a little strange to assume that I even have a husband. So I would recommend.
She does.
Yes.
I love how viewers went up when I started showing my beautiful wife and this baby.
But I would recommend asking if every person in the buying decision is going to be at the appointment. Just, hey, we don't want to waste your time. We don't want to waste our time either. Who's making this decision is present, so they can hear all the information and make a good decision. Because I think that's valuable too.
How would you, if you just like literally try to be unbiased and just be a homeowner for a second, how would you go find a roofer right now? If you really?
Me?
Yeah. You say, like, obviously we know a ton of roofers, but if
Yeah.
you didn't know roofers, like, how do you like other home services?
Other home services, I think I ask in our Facebook group, or I just search the Facebook group, because that's easy too.
So that's a good reason to go back and reply to old threads with roofers and to be involved, even if it happened 3 months ago, because she would search the group.
Yep. Another thing that I think is really like what I did when I first bought our house was I looked like our HVAC person had stickers in the house, so I just called them. So I think if there was any way to like get whoever did this roof before, like leaving some of that information around the house, because you're so overwhelmed as a brand new homeowner.
So I've heard people talk about, like, what if you took a sticker, like HVAC guys have stickers on water heaters, and you put it next to the garage door button.
Yeah.
With this roof was, is warranted by roofing company, and if you have any problems, please reach out. It's a long-term play, but ultimately having a little bit more of a leave behind, so that even if the house sells, that somebody is like knows who to contact.
Because I want somebody who, it seems like my favorite thing is like when they seem to know the house better than I do, because like our HVAC person has been working on our house longer than I've been alive, and that instills a lot of confidence. So I think I would do like a Facebook group search, and then probably a Google search if I couldn't find somebody on there. And reviews, that's all I look at.
There you go. Reviews, Google, Facebook groups. And I just wanted to kind of get, I really don't make a lot of our home decisions. And so there you go. I hope that was useful. That's the way she would make that. I think honestly, Rocky, there's so many ways. That's why even what we do with Google and stuff, that's just one way that customers make a purchase decision, and it's not all the ways. Ultimately, that's what this series is about. It's intended to help folks kind of move forward on other aspects of their marketing that aren't related to the specific services that we do, because we're not the only thing. And I try to be clear about that. There's so many ways that customers can come to you and ultimately should be coming to you. And we want to try to help on those a little bit through content if we're not offering that service. Travis French, Hail 911, what's up, brother? Good to see you this morning. And I hope everyone has an amazing week. Thank you guys for joining. Bye.